Over 1 month into the war in West Asia, and there is no definite end in sight. The US says that the war is on schedule, but Israel says they are halfway there. Even as they claim success, the war goals seem to be changing. US President Donald Trump claims that the US is in talks with a more reasonable regime in Iran. But he's issued a new warning over the Strait of Hormuz. He said that the US would obliterate power plants, oil wells, and key oil export hub of the Karg Island if a deal is not reached soon and if the strait is not opened. But even as he made these threats, the Wall Street Journal has reported that the president is willing to end the military campaign even if the strait remains largely closed. The report, citing officials, said that he may plan a complex operation to reopen it for a later date. This stands in contrast with what Trump has been claiming earlier. Take a listen.
What about the Strait of Hormuz? Who's going to be in control of that?
That'll be opened very soon if this works.
How soon? And who's in control of it? Will Iran still be able to control the flow of oil?
Be jointly controlled.
By who?
Maybe me. Maybe me.
You want the United States to be in
Me
control
and the Ayatollah, whoever the Ayatollah is, whoever the next Ayatollah. Look, and there'll also be a form of a very serious form of a regime change.
When asked about the Wall Street Journal report, the White House referred to comments made by the Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who had told Al Jazeera that the strait would be open one way or another after the U.S. military operation. In fact, Rubio had also said that the regime change is not an objective of the current military operation. He did suggest that the U.S. would welcome political change in Iran. And during this particular interview, Rubio outlined the military objectives as well of Washington, which they're trying to achieve. These objectives are the destruction of the Iranian Air Force, the destruction of their navy, reduction in the number of missile launchers, and destroying the missile and drone manufacturing factories. Rubio's statement echoes something that President Trump has said at the start of this war.
Our objectives are clear. First, we're destroying Iran's missile capabilities. Second, we're annihilating their navy. Third, we're ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon. And finally, we're ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders.
President Donald Trump has already signaled that the goal of a regime change may have turned into a goal of leadership change.
I think we'll make a deal with them, pretty sure. Whether it's possible, we won't. But we've had regime change, if you look already, because the one regime was decimated, destroyed, they're all dead. The next regime is mostly dead. And the third regime, we're dealing with different people than anybody's dealt with before. It's a whole different group of people. So I would consider that regime change.
It's a slightly different list of objectives. These objectives are destroy the Iranian navy, destroy their ballistic missiles, dismantle their missile and drone production infrastructure, significantly weaken their proxies, and prevent Iran from ever obtaining a nuclear weapon. Now, Marco Rubio had made no mention of Iran's support for the proxies or its nuclear program. In fact, asked about the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, Caroline Levitt said that the administration is working towards it, also adding that it is not a core objective of the war.
One way or another, Iran will no longer have the credible ability to threaten the United States or our allies, which is, of course, the overall objective and mission the president set out when he launched Operation Epic Fury.